Icy cold, it is so icy cold. Mixing the water with cheese is making the money get mold. Trying to be like gang, you better go get it involved.
Deep right,
84s on lanes, I want you think it is smoke. We did it, we said it, we spoke. We put it out, thought it was smoke. Just 504. This is at home, right down the street from Alamo. Parked the days in and taking no days in. Don't need a vacation, I need a replacement. Busting the lights out soon as we came in. What are they talking about? What is pertaining? Need me a therapist to ask if I'm aging. Is it me G if you're caving? Why am my demons invading? I live here and they're hesitating. They biting the cadence. Go out their way, it's okay. Just like the jokes at the basement. I gotta get with my face in it. Icy cold, it is so icy cold.
What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing tonight? Who's bumping the music up in here? What's going on here?
That new intro song is sweet, man.
Johnny Uleka 9, Johnny U9322. Welcome to another edition of Chips and Dish here on the All About the Birds Network. I am your host, Chip Keggy at Chip for the Birds. I took last week off because I was on vacation with the family, and my God, what chaos ensued. I learned that this is why we can't have nice things, because every time I go somewhere, the shit hitteth the fan. The shit has hitteth the fan. By the way, intern Paul, you are allowed to curse here on the network, so I wanted to tell you that flat out. I am joined tonight by my teacher friend, Mr. Don Conway, NHL Teacher of the Year from Drunk on Broad. Don Conway, how you doing? Long time no see.
I was gonna say it's been a couple hours.
It has been a couple hours.
It's and I was in the same spot. We were in the Outer Banks last week, kind of checked out a little bit and checked in on social media every once in a while, and just realized that I didn't really need to check in with any kind of visual on anything that was going on, because it was pathetic at best.
Yeah, it was very tough to be away from the social media and the ability to talk and then share my thoughts. So I have 2 weeks of pent up frustration. So I had to bring Don in to moderate a little bit, because good God, I know he keeps me calm. But I also wanted to introduce to the fine people here, we are joined for the first time on the internet here by intern Paul at Broad Street Paul. All About the Birds writer, intern Paul. See, Mike Devlin is an All About the Birds writer. He was former intern Mike. He has graduated. Now we have ourselves a new intern, intern Paul, making his debut. Intern Paul, what is up, my friend?
Nothing much. I'm just chilling. I'm excited to be here. And unlike you guys, I sadly witnessed all the pain and suffering that we had last week. So yeah, I'm ready to get into it and start ranting.
Yeah, it's former intern Mike's chiming in. Intern Paul, he's excited to not get that title again. So we're going to do the real quick thing. We're going to pay the bills. We got some sponsors to talk about, and then we're going to jump into it. The guys know what we're talking about because I had to clue them in. So here we go. We're going to make this snappy. All of the links are in the description on the video. So make sure you check out our great sponsors, whom without we could not do anything. So first off, Statement Games, a fun free twist on fantasy sports. Make sure you are checking them out. Link in the bio. OddsJam.com. Use their Arbitrage Calculator to not lose money. Link in the bio. Check it out. Don't forget, of course, we have the allaboutthebirds.com/shop, aatbirds.com/shop. 99jersey.com is partnered with All About the Birds. Use the code AATBirds20 for a 20% discount checkout. It is where I got my Kobe Bryant jersey. Happy 43rd to the Mamba. You are missed, my friend.
I totally missed that opportunity because I also own said same jersey.
I know.
So,
see, I'm all about this. I'm all over it. Of course, we're sponsored by Don's favorite, Manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you.
Thank you.
Is partnered with All About the Birds. Use the code AATBirds for 20% off and free shipping at checkout. And of course, at the end of the show, we will be playing our Manscaped commercial, which is out of this world this month. And our newest sponsor is La Terrain Luxury Watches. Use the code AATBirds at checkout for 10% off. Yo, their stuff is straight fire. It is straight fire. You got to check it out. AATBirds for a 10% discount at checkout. All right. All the bills are paid. Mike is checking in.
What's going on, Mike?
What's up, Mike?
Matt. See, I'm away for a week. My fault. I'm sleepy over here. I'm sugared up. I'm watered up. Here we go. All right. Let's talk about some things. And Rich checking in. You're going to bed. Ollie's their birthday. All right, cool. The Phillies. I listen, I was away at Busch Gardens riding roller coasters, and they were nothing compared to the roller coaster ride that these Philadelphia Phillies have put us on this entire season. So,
I mean, it's the epitome of like, it's either all or nothing, but nothing in between.
You're too young for that. God. You're too young for that, Paul.
But it's
too young for you, bro.
It's so frustrating because they're stuck in this like horrible mediocre. I can't even say the word mediocre purgatory. Like,
they suck at sucking.
But they also like that is the only thing that they are consistently doing is being inconsistent on every level, whether it's hitting, whether it's defense, whether it's pitching, and nothing that you and I have not shared before.
Right.
But like, there's no light at the end of the tunnel either. There's no big contracts that you're getting rid of. There's no bunch of talent in the farm system. You're just kind of here, and you're going to be playing this seesaw until Dombrowski has the ability to be able to move, or he's got to be able to move one of those contracts to be able to start to begin to turn this around, because otherwise you're going to be we are going to be here for a long time.
How many times has Matt said we are 5 years away from being 5 years away?
Yeah.
I'm literally. I'm sure he's actually typing the comment in right now, as we speak. Intern Paul, what are your thoughts on these wonderful Phillies who are driving me up a fucking wall this season?
The thing that I don't get with this team is they get swept by the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I'm sitting there, I'm texting my friends, the season's over, they're doing this, and then my friend goes, you know what? Watch them win a series against the Padres, and they're going to reel us right back in. We're going to think something happens, and then they do exactly that. And then Rhys Hoskins comes back. He looks phenomenal when he comes back. 2 homers, had a walk, and I always told myself, I was like, maybe Rhys is the reason their offense has been so horrible.
You can't tell me that Rhys Hoskins is the make or break linchpin of the Philadelphia Phillies.
It's crazy.
You can't tell me that.
It's so, and listen, and in that same transaction, and okay, you posted something on Twitter about when they activated Hoskins and then they demote Bohm, and
you can't tell me that he was the fall guy.
Right. They also have perfected mismanaging prospects.
Yes.
Like historically, okay. So who are the pitchers that they've developed internally?
None.
I mean,
Spencer Howard is successfully out of Philadelphia.
But like outside of Nola and Hamels, like they have not, and that pitching is not exclusive. Like they have not drafted or developed outfield talent.
I think for me, you're talking about player development. And if we go down into the highlights of the system, Spencer Howard, flop.
Oh yeah, and
Scott Kingery, flop. Alec Bohm, proving to be a flop. Moniak, flop.
Hazley. The fact that they've played 8 players in center field this year tells you all you need to know. And the fact that they were able to turn Spencer Howard into a starting pitcher and a closer is beyond mind-blowing for me. And you can see his statistics in Texas
Terrible.
are just as bad as when they were here.
Because he's a bad pitcher. But they
Right,
sold us.
he's
But they sold us this bill of goods, and we fell for it. We fell for it. And as Jason says, it's a disgrace.
Yeah. I mean, how long did we hear about Spencer Howard was the next big arm
They
to
signed
come
Scott
up?
Kingery before he took a major league at bat to an astronomical deal, and now he can't give the dude away.
Right. Again, how many times and listen, this is where like it's so hard to continue to consistently come back, but it's like going back to the like you get dumped and then you go back to the girl and she takes you back and then she dumps you and then you take her back. Like it's just this horrible toxic relationship that internally is bad. You know it's bad for you, but you just keep going back with the hope that it at some point turns into something.
But it won't. It won't. It's the definition of insanity.
Right.
So Paul, let me ask you this, right? Because you're the young guy. You're the one full of hope out of us old men over here. And you can already see the veins starting to pop out. So I know some people tuned in to see the jugular action tonight. It's going to happen. Because I haven't even gotten into my main Phillies take yet. So intern Paul, fix the Phillies.
The first thing I would do is before even Dombrowski got hired, I would have hired a guy who can build a farm system, someone from Tampa, someone from Minnesota, because they know how to build a farm. And you develop him, you bring him in so we can build our farm, because you're not going to be a winner until you can build a farm system, when we all know this team can't build a farm system for the life of them. I mean, Hans Kraus. I love the guy they just traded for Texas, Kraus. But he came in and he was our number 3 or number 4 prospect in our top 30.
Immediately.
That's a disgrace.
Right.
And
right away.
Painter, the guy they just drafted in the first round, he's our number 3 prospect. Abel is our number 1. These are all guys that came in the last 2 years. And like Max said, new ownership. I don't like John Middleton at all. I think he's too scared
I think
to
the issue with Middleton is that he comes in looking to turn prospects into gold.
Yeah.
And we don't have prospects.
I mean, let's be honest. I think that it was prophetic that they used the word "stupid money" when they talked about Harper, and then they don't make the moves to be able to, because they don't want to go over the luxury tax. So like, I honestly, I mean, listen, Paul, I'm 100% on board with your ideas. Like, I don't know which way is up. Like you could say blow it up, trade anybody and everybody for whatever you can get, start over, start new, or you just say, I'm going to go over the luxury tax. I mean, listen, not for nothing, but like the Yankees were 10 games out, went and bought, traded for a bunch of guys. And now they made in that same amount of time that the Phillies went from leading the division to being down by 5 games, the Yankees have made up 10 games.
Yeah.
You could say the same thing about the Braves.
Yeah. I mean, the Braves
got hot. Yep.
But the Braves went out and they traded for 5 guys to replace 1. Like,
yeah.
It's so frustrating.
Max just wrote, you literally cannot fix this team until there's new ownership. It starts with them and ends with them, no matter how you look at it. The farm has been an issue for as long as I can. Yeah, 100%. As long as I can remember, there has been an issue. They will occasionally eke out 1 or 2 major league players. I won't say stars.
I mean, who was the last guy that they internally developed?
Reese.
Like Hoskins? And Hoskins is a marginally good to better major league player.
So Reese Hoskins, here's the thing. And I wanted to talk about him because, look, we needed him to come back, apparently, because all of a sudden he immediately comes out, smashes 2 home runs, and, you know, the team puts up, I forget how many, I think they put up, 7 or 9 yesterday? I forget how many it was.
7,
and then the Padres fired their pitching coach. They were like, whoa. you gave up more than 2 earned runs to the Philadelphia Phillies. You got to go. You got to go. And yes, Max, exactly. He is a DH at best. Like, he is a mediocre fielding first baseman. Alec Boehm is a mediocre, I can't even say he's a mediocre fielding third baseman or first baseman. And then he wasn't hitting. So they made the right move to send him down because he's going to get more at-bats. He's going to get more opportunities. That's fine. But you can't say that Ronald Torreyes and when he comes back, Freddie Galvis put this team in a better position. I mean, maybe they do. Maybe they do. You know, maybe you keep.
Defensively, they do.
Defensively, they do, sure.
Yeah.
But, and Jason, hold on. I'm not even putting up that comment yet because that is one of the poll questions that I asked. We are going to talk about that. Don't worry. I like that we got Freddie Galvis back, and I was worried there was going to be a log jam because, you know, Gene Segura, for all of the fact that we were saying, you know, trade him during the offseason, he's been the most reliable player on the team.
Yeah. Yeah, he has. I mean, if there was anybody that you were going to be able to flip at the trade deadline to get prospects, it was going to be him. Yeah. Because he was productive. And he has been productive.
And he was consistently productive.
Correct.
Consistency. And that's the Philadelphia Phillies issue. They are not consistent. They are consistently inconsistent.
And that is the part that is so frustrating because you can look at this team on paper and see talent. You can see Real Muto and say
on paper they're a good team.
Right. But in reality, there's never an opportunity to be able to put it all together, to be productive. It's just like, and I don't know what it would take. Like, I know, like, I'm kind of stuck in my fandom. Like, I'm stuck between like child fanboy desire to see playoff baseball because we haven't seen it in a decade.
Right.
And also hate for the organization for how they've handled things. And we are in this purgatory. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. And it's that part is so frustrating because I want them to do well. And I want them to like, okay, like you got, like we talked about before, like you got 2 games against Tampa, which are going to be tough, but
very tough.
But then you've got 4 against Arizona, which you've got to put together at least 3 or 4 because you're playing them at home. And then you play the Nationals, which is essentially a glorified AAA team at this point because they traded everybody away.
Who we still struggle with.
Who you still struggle with.
And then Max said right here, right? Max says right here, we went on an 8-game win streak and then got swept by the Diamondbacks. And what you know, everyone was going to go, oh well, you know, they're the worst team in baseball. We struggled against we struggle against the Pirates. Like we have not been playing well. And then we go out to the Padres, who again on paper have an exceptional lineup. And for 2 of those 3 games, we play really well. And you start to so we're going to get into my next point here. And I'm going to ask each of you a question, just a yes or no answer. Aaron Nola was pitching exceptionally. And he was due because every 3rd start he pitches really well. So he was due, which means when he takes the mound this week, he will struggle. We already know this. Or if not this week, his next start. Within his next 2 starts, he'll have a solid 4-inning start and get yanked.
Right.
He's consistent in that. So he is pitching incredible. But the no-hitter gets botched. The perfect game gets botched. The no-hitter gets botched. The shutout gets botched. Now, following baseball stratagem.
Did you just make up
Cole Hamels. Stratagem? No, man. It's intern Paul, check it for me. Stratagem a word?
I got no clue off the top of my head. But I like it.
It is now.
It's a word.
It's a chip official. Pow!
There you go.
He loses all those things.
Right.
And it's a close game. He has an at-bat in the 7th inning. Yes or no? And I know the result of the at-bat, and he doubled and scored and great, whatever. Don't you pull him there?
Yeah.
In the 7th inning.
Yes. So
you pull him there.
Considering where you are in the game, your best option at that point in the game is to pinch hit and bring in Alvarado, Archie Bradley,
Right.
Any number of.
But more importantly, you
guys.
get Real Muto in at bat.
And that speaks to what we're going to talk about in a minute.
Right. So Max, he did not have a no-hitter going. He lost the no-hitter in the seventh. He got an at bat in the eighth. And then he got another at bat in the ninth.
Correct.
You gave a pitcher 2 more at bats with no reason to still be in the game. So yes, he was pitching great, and he made one mistake, and it turned into a tie game, and they blew it. We get all that. He should have been pulled in the 8th inning when his at bat came up because he wasn't pitching for anything. And I know the argument has been, oh well, you also pulled Matt Moore. You shouldn't have pulled Matt Moore. No. When he had the no hitter going, you should have let him in. You go with the hot hand. You should have pulled Cole Hamels after the no hitter was gone, after the shutout was gone, and his at bat came up to put an actual bat in play, point blank.
Right, and not for nothing, but like you're in. I'm going to put it in air quotes. You're in playoff contention at this point. Like Real Muto, and listen, I call it, so I know the stress of game to game to game. But you're in a playoff stretch. You've got to be playing every day except day games after night games. Like in my mind, like he should not be coming off the bench unless you're either playing in an American League park where he can DH, or it's the day game after a night game.
Especially with how bad Knapp is. Knapp is horrible.
Knapp is terrible.
And yeah, that's another thing. Like, talk about one of the you're the backup catcher, and you either need to do I was listening to Buster Olney talk about this a couple weeks ago, and he said, like, as the backup catcher, you either have to be good at one of two things, like either be really good defensively, and
which he's not,
or be really good at the plate,
which he's not,
and he's neither. And he cost you that game with the wild pitch.
Yeah.
Like,
yep. 100%. He didn't block it. Paul, do you pull Cole Hamels in the 8th inning when he gets to the bat after he has nothing else to win?
No.
Are we talking about Nola? You keep saying Cole Hamels.
What did I say?
You said Cole Hamels.
Oh, forget that guy. Yeah. Aaron Nola. Sorry.
Yeah, I would have pulled him, and even if say they let him bat his 8th and 9th inning, even though I don't think they should have, I would have pulled him in the 9th, or at least because the Padres have seen him a lot. He was at 100 when he left the home run to Cronenworth. I think it
was 117 pitchers or something like that.
It was 100. It was plus 100.
Especially going through the meat, like the middle of the Padres lineup, which I know their whole lineup is good, especially the middle with you got to face Tatis, Cronenworth, whoever they got thrown out. I knew it was going to be bad. I don't know why. I just knew it was going to be bad.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah, and not only, as Matt says here, right, it's a career high. Not only that, he was throwing at velocity that he has never touched in his entire career. He hit 96 miles an hour. And if you remember, months and months and months ago, Jason and I had the trial of Aaron Nola, where it was, is he an ace? And I said no, because he doesn't have overpowering stuff. All of a sudden, he goes down, he's throwing 96 miles an hour. Why? Because he's in California where it's warm and he can do what he wants. And he's facing his brother and he's jacked up. By the 117th pitch, of course he was going to throw a meatball over the plate. Oh, well, he only made one mistake. It was a big effing mistake.
Yeah.
It turned a game where he dominated into a game that he wasted 117 pitches. They should have pulled him. And Paul, exactly like you said, all right, fine, I'll give it to you in the 8th, right? He pitched into the 8th. Cool. The 9th inning, you pull him. You pad it a little bit. And then on top of that, and here comes the vein, you put in Kennedy in a no-save situation. You put in your closer who you have been abusing in a no-save situation. Why? To face one batter, and then he can't pitch again the next. Joe Girardi is so stubborn. I do not understand many of his choices.
No,
I don't get it.
We talked about this on a show maybe like a month and a half ago about Girardi and about like, let's be honest, the three of us probably could have managed those Yankees teams. Like that didn't take rocket science to look at that lineup and throw that lineup out there every day, and then bring Rivera in the ninth. So part of me is beginning to think like
everyone knew their roles,
right? But part of me thinks like, was he just the guy that kind of like pointed fingers and put a collection of really great players at their positions? Did he really know?
He had all the right pieces. He had all the right pieces. Now he's got some really great pieces, but he is mismanaging them.
Yeah.
In a horrible way.
Paul, what do you think? I mean, I don't even have a question here. Just share some thoughts before I go jugular all over the place.
When Girardi got hired, I was excited. I was like, we have an experienced manager. And I think it was around the same time where the Flyers hired Vigneault. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but and they won. So I was like, oh, it's a similar situation. They're gonna move from a non-experienced coach to an experienced coach, and then they're gonna win. And then I know his first year was the COVID year, so I gave him the slack. Like, oh, he barely could see his team. It's all right. But this year, it's the same mistakes. It's bad, and to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Dombrowski wanted to like get rid of him, because Dombrowski didn't hire him. He's not a Dombrowski guy, and that's my thoughts. I think Dombrowski might want to hire his own guy to bring in.
Well, let's discuss that.
He's not really making a case to keep himself, to keep the position here, and in like, what does that say about your organization when you're 5 games back in a division where everybody sucks?
It's the same as the NFC East, right? Somebody had to win the NFC East. Somebody has to win the NL East.
It literally, like this Philly season compared to last year's Eagle season, literally feels like Groundhog Day. Everybody is crappy. Nobody wants to take the division.
This is big. Matt's point here is really big. Now all of a sudden, Joe's getting very frustrated in press conferences because he's getting asked these tough questions by the Philadelphia media, and he's getting frustrated just like Doug did. No, and he doesn't answer.
He never had to answer those questions in New York.
No,
as much as New York media holds their teams accountable, they were winning. They were winning 90 plus, 100 plus games.
Right.
Like, he didn't have to worry about answering questions about who he's going to bring in from the bullpen or a closer, or why he's got this guy back. Like, he didn't have to answer any of those questions because that lineup wrote itself.
So here's what I did, right? After the game, and I asked this to Jason when he was on the show. Don, I think I may have asked it to you when you were on the show. I asked it to somebody. I said, look, I know they're on this win streak, and I know it's competitive, but if they don't make the playoffs, should Girardi be fired? And at that time, the conversation was, no, I mean, it was he had the COVID year last year. He's got him in a good position. He's had some injuries. He doesn't have all the right pieces. Okay. Then they go on a tear. They were in first place. Then they got swept by the worst team in baseball.
Like, I honestly, when I was just checking box scores at that point.
Yep.
Like, down, like I couldn't get, like, I would check in with the games every once in a while, but like we were doing a whole bunch, like, and I'm looking at that and I'm like, oh God, like when they lost the first game. And I'm like, all right, maybe that kicks it into gear. But for them to come out flat 3 days in a row.
Right. Jason just said 8 hits, in 49 innings.
That's terrible.
That's not terrible. That's inexcusable.
That's true.
And that's 8 hits.
Bad baseball teams
against horrible baseball teams, like the bottom of the barrel baseball teams. We're not talking about anybody like nobody on that team is lighting the world on fire.
Right.
Yeah.
One of those games was a bullpen game.
There seems to be a debate flying in the comments between Max and Jason talking about JT Realmuto. JT Realmuto has not played up to his standard. He is not playing enough, if you ask me. So I put up a poll August 22nd, 12:34 a.m. because I was a little upset after a certain loss. And I stayed up late 2 nights in a row. And I said, if the Phillies miss the playoffs, should Joe Girardi be fired? And it did hit the official 100 mark. So 107 votes. And the results were real close. 54.2% said yes. 45.8% said no. It doesn't get a whole lot closer than that.
That surprises me. Honestly.
But the logic is there, though. He had the tough season with the COVID. He's not managing his guys. You've got injuries here and there. I get it.
The logic to keep him.
But this is a very winnable division.
Right. But that, like, to me, that's why I'm saying, like, I don't understand why it's not more lopsided, like, for him to go. Because you've got every reason and opportunity to be able to win this division.
Exactly.
In the most winnable season possible in recent history. And, like, you've got the Braves decimated by injuries. You've got the Nats who gave up on everybody. You've got, like, the Mets who
they don't have DeGrom pitching right now. If you cannot pounce on this Mets team right now, you are not a good baseball team. But what? He's going to sneak into the playoffs, get knocked out in the first round, and we're going to, well, at least you got us to the playoffs in, Red October. I don't just want to be an okay team. As Matt says, he's going to get one more year no matter what. They're going to count this as an odd year because of the injuries. I know, Matt. I know. But should he? Should he?
No. But this is why I'm in this, like, weird dichotomy, because I'm like, yes, do I want to watch playoff baseball?
Of
Absolutely.
course.
I want to see the bunting up everywhere and rally towels and all that stuff. But I also at the same time, I don't want the Phillies then turning around and selling me we won the division last year when it was like, oh, look, let's hang up our 2021 banner because we won the division.
Anything to sell tickets.
And this is something that we've talked about on our show. Like, they are like attention whores.
Oh,
like,
God,
they just want people in the seats, and they're going to do anything and everything to try to keep people coming back. Ooh. At the cost of actually putting a quality product on the field.
Paul, you get to answer this question. Should Kapler have gotten another year before they got rid of him?
That's tough, because I was all about firing him. I was like, fire him, get rid of Clentac, get rid of everyone. And now you see what he's doing with the Giants, and it's like, was it just our team? Like, maybe it was our front office and our president who wouldn't let him. They wouldn't build the team.
They wouldn't build the team that he wanted, right?
And now he has the team he wanted, and they have 80 wins already?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was it more a product of was it more that it was he was a product of this environment?
Right. So you brought in your fancy way of doing baseball into a very cut and dry blue collar town, and people were like, whoa, yoga mat, relax. Relax, put your abs away, fuck your launch angle, please go out and develop a player. There was no development. He walked into a situation in San Francisco where players were already developed.
That is true.
You know what I mean? He went into a situation where there was development already. There were pitchers who could, actually pitch. Like, we got lucky. We got lucky that Zach Wheeler has become the number one pitcher on our in our lineup because, and that's Max. That's exactly what I'm saying, right? Wheeler is reliable. Eflin had some really good starts. I'm hoping he provides a little bit of a spark. Aaron Nola has been consistently inconsistent, and so has all of the hitters. McCutchen struck out 5 times yesterday. 5 times.
That's beyond the golden sombrero.
5 times.
Like
I hit you with the Booker T.
I can't see you.
That's John Cena, the Booker T.
I know.
No, he can't see you as in the baseball.
He can't see the ball. Right.
I can't see you, the baseball.
I can't see you, the ball.
But Matt Moore is not an Major League Baseball quality pitcher. Chase Anderson, that was real fun for a while.
Listen, at the end of the day, we know that we're fighting a losing battle. We know that it's fool's gold to think that that and that to me is right now is just like.
But my question is that there are 38 games left. 30 of them are against teams with losing records. There is no reason why the Philadelphia Phillies don't win this division. So with the easiest schedule left in baseball, how can you possibly say he deserves another year if he cannot get us to the playoffs?
You can't.
But we're gonna, as Matt said, we're going to go into the next season with Joe Kapler as our manager. That's right. I called him Joe Kapler.
Okay, nothing.
I'm frustrated.
What are you gonna say?
Nobody is playing up to their potential. Nobody outside of Gene Segura and Ronald Torres, who is now starting to plateau out.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But everybody else, like Bryce, is playing in spurts as an MVP type player, but he is not the MVP of this league. He's just not.
Well, listen, you can't be the most valuable. Oh, I would love him too, but there's no way that he could possibly be the MVP on a team that's going to finish at or below 500.
No.
There's just no way that you could justify that him getting that award. If he was that valuable, then his team would be better. The awards, the individual accolades, like that all, you know what, when you get those individual awards, when you're good, when you're productive, when you're winning, when you're making the playoffs, when you lock up playoff seeds weeks and weeks in advance. And like, Jeb, when you were saying like from now until the end of the season, like their schedule and how easy it is, right? But to quote another famous wrestler, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who they're playing. Like they still suck. And
I need them, out of their 38 games left, I need them to win a solid 20 of them for me to feel any type of way about this team.
But listen, you also like think about that. Like if you're only going to win 20 of those 38, you basically need the Braves to take a humongous dump.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not happening.
No.
Because the Braves are actually putting wins together.
They're winning in spite of themselves.
Right.
The thing about the Phillies also is we always expect them to win against these garbage teams, but they always play down to their opponents.
Hold on, wait. Paul, you're going to get your first spotlight for this point. Go ahead, my friend. Do your thing.
Yeah, they always play down to their opponents, and I remember back in 2008 when they won. I was in 4th grade. I don't mean to make everyone feel old, but 2000. That's true. Every team does play down, but they can't beat the Marlins. I don't think I've seen them beat the Marlins ever, and the Marlins have been a dumpster fire for years now. They just can't beat, and then they lose to the bad teams. They beat the good teams. I don't know. That's all I want to say is they play down to their opponents. That's really all I gotta say. Why I have absolutely no hope. Even
as Matt says, that's every Philly sports team. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And listen, even if just say on the stupidest of stupid years that they actually put together a playoff team, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does a playoff team need to be successful? Primarily,
Pitching
they need to have
hitting.
pitching and defense.
Maybe some defense.
And we are
the worst defensive team in baseball.
That's where, and like to hear some of the, like, it's one thing to hear national or local people talk about how bad they're playing on defense, right? But it's another thing to hear like national broadcasts, like when you've got the 4-letter networks of the world, and you've got people at Fox Sports, and you've got like when they are talking about how horribly defensive this team is, like that tells you all you need to know. And it tells you why that nothing that they put together is actually legitimate.
Well, speaking of defense, let's talk about a team that also sucks at defense.
The Eagles.
The Philadelphia Eagles lost. Oh, no, it was only preseason. It was only preseason, guys. Let's not make a big deal of it. It was only preseason. They lost 35-0. Let me say that again. The Philadelphia Eagles lost 35-0, and we're supposed to be going, it's only the preseason. The Philadelphia Eagles have not even once this preseason shown that they are ready to compete in this NFL season. No, well, they had a joint practice and they dominated the joint practices. And then, Jalen Hurts was dancing so much that he hurts himself that he wasn't able to play. Shut the fuck up. Are you kidding me? Like, they looked like straight donkey doo-doo. Straight donkey doo-doo.
So listen, so I didn't watch the game live, right? I recorded it. And
I watched it on my phone.
I didn't. No, I didn't. We were eating dinner.
I didn't watch it either. I saw Hurts wasn't playing, and I was like, nope, no thank you.
And I didn't watch it until I came home. And at that point, I kind of knew the dumpster fire that I was about to watch. So I could kind of fast forward through some stuff. But here's what I didn't like. I didn't see the one thing that this coach has talked about, which is being competitive.
Correct.
This coach has talked his face off about competing at rock, paper, scissors, and competing about who's the first to the meeting room, and competing in this drill, and we're going to attack our sleep, and we're going to attack our practice, and we're going to attack each rep. I didn't see any of that. No. And listen, and those guys that were playing, I understand that a lot of your starters didn't play. I understand that.
But why? But why? They have not done anything to earn a seat. They were a 4-win team. All right, here comes the vein. I feel it. They were a 4-win team last season, which means every single spot is on the line. You fire the coach, you trade the franchise quarterback, and then you bring in a guy who says, oh, well, we're going to compete. Here we go. We're going to compete every day. We're going to be a team that competes. It's going to be awesome. And then you put out an absolute dog crap product for 6 of the 8 preseason quarters that you've played. And now reports are starting to come out. Well, here comes the third preseason game, and we don't know how much the starters are going to play. So you're going to go into the regular season without the starters having played any meaningful snaps and expect them to be okay. But Mahomes plays. Tom Brady plays. Hell, Jameis Winston plays. Why? Because you have to go out and compete. Trevor Lawrence plays.
Right.
Andy Dalton plays. There is no possible excuse for Jalen Hurts not going out and playing at least 2 quarters of the third preseason game.
He should at least play the first half. You should have your starters play the first half, because you've got 2 weeks in between this preseason game and the first regular season game. And listen, I'm trying to go. I don't have this. This is also a weird spot for me as an Eagles fan because I'm not watching the game the same way I would be in previous years, right? I'm like last year at the beginning of the season, the expectations were that they were going to win the division, right? They had they were the only team to return a start or a head coach. They had arguably the quarterback who was going to be the most polished out of the group. They had they were returning a lot of starters. So the expectations were to win the division. We know that that's not happening this year.
No.
So like I have to retrain how I'm watching these games to look for the incremental improvements player by player, position group by position
How
group.
can you judge improvement player by player, position by position when it's Joe Flacco and Nick Mullins throwing the ball? When it's not the actual offensive line? How can you possibly judge this accurately and fairly?
Well, but
you're cutting guys who have not had a real opportunity to play.
Well, those and take this for what it is, but maybe those guys are getting time now because they realize how important it is for those starters to be healthy. Because what you're seeing is that they have no depth, like beyond that starting group of players, they have zero depth. So maybe the strategy is to let these guys battle out the bottom half of the roster so that we can keep the top half of the roster somewhat healthy so that we can be competitive in those games and not get guys injured. Now, listen, it's not the way I would handle it, right? But maybe
Jason, this is it. That's exactly it. Go ahead.
Maybe that's the mindset is that their best chance of winning is to have the healthiest group of players at the top end of their position groups, because the depth at the position groups is horrible. Because let's be honest, that offensive line, like beyond that starting group, you've got who do you like? Jack Driscoll.
You don't know. You don't know. Jack Driscoll is a very good backup.
Correct.
Very good backup. Landon Dickerson is going to be good if he can get healthy.
Correct.
But Jariga, gone. Pryor, gone. Hell, LaRaven Clark might be pretty damn good. Dillard, you can sell him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I get the logic that there's only 3 games in the preseason. And, the 4th game is the one they naturally sit out. But they play in the 3rd. The 3rd is a dress rehearsal for the season. And then you have a bye week. You have got to put these starters in. If they don't play the starters, you have no idea if you've gotten the best players on your roster. You have not had an actual battle between Barnett and Sweat. You have not had an actual battle for the 3rd tight end spot. You don't know with your overcrowded running room if you've got the right guys. It falls in over and over again to the repeat of we get rid of guys who then turn into studs elsewhere. But this would be because they don't take an actual look at the real players. You have got to actually see who these guys are. That's it. And injuries are a part of the game. And if you can't get through a season without being enough, you're now competing in practice. So these soft muscle injuries where you're going from 0 to 100, where your practices are at like a 20% and then your games are at 100. Jason, this is exactly what Don said a couple minutes ago. Where is the competition? There is no competition, right? You have got to play the starters. Nick Mullins, gone. See ya. Bye. We've seen enough. We've seen enough. Michael Jacquet, gone. We've seen enough.
Yeah. I mean, not for nothing, but like the guy that they picked up in free agency, like Jamie Newman, Johnny's boy, like he's got to be better than Nick Mullins. Like Nick Mullins has proved
Nick Mullins is a starting We were really in San Francisco. He was a starting caliber. No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
He was a starter by proxy. He was a starter because they had nobody else to play. There was nobody else there to play. That's why he played.
Paul, do you play the starters on Friday night, and for how long?
I play them for a half, at least a half, because what they didn't play. You didn't see a lot of the starters in game 2. They played like 2-3 series, if that, on game 1. You don't know what they're going to produce at all in the regular season. So you got to play them for a half, if not more than a half.
I believe, yeah.
I mean, look, Miles Sanders didn't play in the first preseason game. I don't know how much he played in the second one. I wasn't really paying too much attention at that point. But, like, he's got to get reps.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get Brandon Brooks up to speed. You know what I mean? He's coming off a pretty heinous injury. We got to know if he's going to play this season. You have got to give Mailata as many chances as possible to stay on the field. He'll be on the field. You know what I mean? He'll be on the field. Devonta Smith, I love that he got out there and played a little bit. I love that. But then when he started dropping passes, you got to keep him out there. You got to get him in the flow. And if Joe Flacco's the one throwing him the ball and he's dropping passes, well, then you got to get him out there with Jalen Hurts to get back. Oh, well, they've played together, so they have a relationship. Years ago. You got to see if Rager is worth a damn. You got to see, like, Travis Fulgham's been playing special teams. Greg Ward Jr. is returning punts during the fourth quarter. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
It screams of, like, grasping at straws to try to figure it, to look like you're trying to figure it out. But to go back to where you started at the very beginning, like, we know that this is preseason. We know that and listen, we are here every August, right? Because every offense is completely vanilla. The defense is completely vanilla. You're not putting anything on tape. You're trying to evaluate players. Like, so I don't get too high or too low at any of this, because at the end of the day, these games that they're playing mean nothing. They really don't. But
they do mean something. And now my other frustration of it all is the fact that, like, okay, I get that it was, like, kind of sudden, and, you know, he was dancing pregame, and, you know, all of a sudden, like, he had a stomach infection, and they took him to the hospital. Like, I get all that.
Mm-hmm.
But you have people who bought tickets to go down there, who paid for parking, who paid for the food, and they waited till the stands were full. Say not, like, well, it's the same thing as the Phillies. Like, they're pulling the wool over everyone's eyes, and it's fucked up.
Well, and that is a whole nother conversation.
Play somebody.
Well, but around charging for what they charge for preseason games, like, either do one of two things, like, make those games like a flat
dirt
rate,
cheap,
like next to nothing, so that people can get in, and you know that they'll spend money in the concessions. You know that they'll spend money in merch. You know that they'll go do all those things. But then, you know,
reach out to school districts. Reach out to school districts. Say, hey, we are releasing, you know, 15,000 tickets to school children, letting them get to the games before the drunk season ticket holders make it impossible to bring your kids.
Correct. But and listen, not for nothing, but like, then, like, I'm sure if you made the season ticket for each game, if you build that cost and spread it out over the other, what is it now, 9 home games?
Yeah.
And I'm sure the cost of the season ticket is not changing.
No, it's going up.
Like, it's going up. It's not changing. But, like, that is a whole nother conversation about charging people regular cost to go to preseason games when the product that you're putting out there is complete garbage.
Right. And as Adam just said here, they canceled the open practice at the last minute. He was pissed. He was supposed to go. Go ahead, Paul.
I went to week 1 preseason. Thankfully, my friend sent me free tickets, so I didn't have to pay anything. But the parking was $40.
You still pay, you still pay $40
and
to park.
And then if you want a Chicky and Pete's crab fries with 4 chicken tenders and a souvenir soda, it's $30. So it's bad. It's crazy.
Yeah, you got the tickets for free, and you probably still spent $150.
And that's if you don't even buy merch.
Right.
I can't. I am so over the jacked up price of this. So again, I look at it, right? And there you go. Your first comment, intern Paul. You're doing a good job. Nicely done.
Thank you.
I look at this Phillies team this Eagles team as a whole, and I go, what are they? What are they going to be? We have questions at quarterback. We have questions at running back. We have questions about injuries. We have questions about wide receivers. Tight end seems to be pretty secure. We know it's Goddard. We know it's going to be Ertz. Everyone, we've been saying it. But we know it's going to be Ertz. Then you go defensive. We still have a really good defensive line, but the backups, like the defensive tackle depth, worries me because Hassan Ridgeway, T.Y. McGill, they're not showing a single damn thing. They need to move Milton Williams over to D-end or D-tackle where he's supposed to play. Fine. Linebackers have been okay. I mean, Eric Wilson and Singleton are good linebackers. Singleton's ranked as like a top 10 linebacker this preseason. It's only preseason. I know, but he's still ranked top 10. He was a 100-tackler linebacker last season. Shut your face. And our starting 4 secondary are going to be really good. So I'm a little less worried about the defense and less guys get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're right. Like they are that as much as they have old talented players on their team, there's also a lot of young position players that are fighting for whether or not they're going to stay on the roster. But this season is not about wins and losses. It can't be.
It's not.
Because it's not.
But
it's
you
not.
But you also have to actually see these guys you want to develop.
Right, but did we learn anything when Sam Bradford was 7 for 8 and we thought we were gonna ride that all the way until the Super Bowl?
No.
Like people so as much as we want to dissect all the stuff that goes on in a preseason game, we're really not dissecting anything, right?
We're not.
So when those regular season games start is when you can start to look at incremental growth from players. You can compare Hurts from week 1 to week 2 and say, did he get better? You can look at the wide receiver group and say, did they get better? But they're also that first part of that schedule is rough.
Brutal.
It's that first stretch, those first 6 games. I mean, they are going to be lucky if they walk away with 1 or 2 wins.
But we're supposed to do this big, preseason extravaganza show in 2 weeks, and I can't talk about this team yet. I don't know what this team is.
I mean, you're going to wait until the 53-man roster comes out, and then you're going to look at player depth, and what you're going to see is there's going to be a lot of unproven talent. Like you talked about on one of your shows a while back about a lot of these 1-year prove-it deals. You're going to see a lot of those guys.
We did.
You're going to see a lot of those guys either make or break their way into whether or not they're going to continue to be productive players for this team or move on and be other teams. But you're not going to know that until they start playing all the games. But yeah,
I can't believe Jordan Howard's going to make this goddamn team. Yep.
No, he is. He absolutely.
I know he is. And again, not a lot of tread on the tires. Maybe cool.
Whatever. He's going to provide running back depth. At some point Sanders is not playing 17 games, so you're going to need running back depth.
Yeah.
You know, I don't hate it because that deal was little to next to no money. And if he gives you, if he's even mildly productive this year, like he's not going to be lighting up anybody's fantasy team, but
Nah.
he could be mildly productive.
Cool.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
So speaking of mildly productive, I want to switch gears here because we're still talking football, friends. We're not going to waste any time. You know what? We'll spend 30 seconds on this. Are you guys excited for Ben Simmons' shooting game and has gotten better? Paul, you go first. Talk about Ben Simmons and his three-point shot.
I've seen those videos for the past 4 years, and nothing changes. He's, as one of my friends put it, he goes, yeah, it's crazy that he's shooting these threes on a bunch of guys that probably have the talent that we do. Like, they're nothing special.
I mean, I think Maxi's there, like, puttering around.
There are guys there, but like,
yeah,
like tell me, like
he won't shoot him in the game. He won't shoot in the game.
He's here. Here's at baseline. He's more interested in being superstar, all-star weekend, hang out, shoot these videos.
Yeah.
But he's not interested. But he's not interested in actually being a better basketball player. Nope. I can tell you exactly the reason why he would want to go to the Warriors.
Because he'd play the power forward and know how to shoot the ball?
He would never have to shoot. He would play defense, lights out like he does. He would be able to bring the ball up and facilitate it. And there would never be he would never be on the floor where he would have to be the one to take the shot. He would be on the floor and Steph Curry would be there, or Draymond Green's going to be there, or Klay Thompson's going to be there. There would always be someone else that would be taking a shot. So it doesn't surprise me that he wants to go to a team like Golden State. I'd rather them send him to like basketball Siberia. Like send him to Minnesota, send him to Memphis,
Detroit.
Like,
so here's
Detroit.
what I've learned about Ben Simmons. As Ben Simmons, the basketball player. There are three Ben Simmons. There is Ben Simmons in August, who he's working out, man. He's working on his summer bod and he's working on the game. And look at me dribbling the ball and passing it without looking. And there's summer Ben Simmons, right? Which we saw in the summer league all those years ago.
One more time that he's in the lab.
Shut the motherfucker up.
Yeah.
Shut the motherfucker. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. So that's Ben Simmons, number one. Number two is regular season Ben Simmons. Regular season Ben Simmons is a stat stuffer.
Throwing up 65 triple doubles and
right, 10, 12, and 15. Right.
Right.
And then there is, afraid of his own shadow playoff Ben Simmons.
Oh my God.
The lights. Okay, you're done, sir. I'm not falling for it again.
That screenshot of him making that pass is like an oil painting that's like burned into my brain that just says like everything I need to know about this player is encapsulated in this one image, which is when the lights are bright, when their team needed you the most, you've got Ben Simmons passing the ball when he's got nothing between him and the basket, and Joel Embiid out on the wing with his head in his hands going, what
did you just do?
What did you just do? Like that to me tells me everything I need to know about that player.
Go
ahead.
I think you need to trade him, because if he returns, it's just going to be awkward, because you had all those reports coming out that he wasn't talking to anyone. He wasn't returning any phone calls, which I don't know if they're true or not. But
just from some people that we've kind of connected with.
Okay.
That kind of information has kind of been sussed out that was kind of more of like an attention whore like tweet.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, not from like at this point though. What are you going to trade him for? Like it's probably honestly at this point more likely that he starts the season on the team, and then there's a trade mid-season, and there's like 6 games in.
Right when he starts racking up his regular season numbers.
But there's this is where it's going to get really awkward. I think the 6th or the 7th game of the season, the Trailblazers come here and play at the Wells Fargo Center.
Ooh.
So you're going to have a city that's clamoring for a guy that's on the other team while they've got a guy on their team that they would gladly pass away.
Easily.
In a millisecond.
So that was more time than I wanted to spend on that. Back to what we were going to talk about. So we only have a couple minutes left. I am actually signed up for some fantasy football leagues this year. Now, I did fantasy football way back in the day when it was just like Yahoo, and I was in a couple leagues, and it was totally fun and easygoing. It was before fantasy football got big. Then fantasy football got big. I haven't done it in years. I'm now in 2 different fantasy football leagues, including the Golden Mike League, which we draft on Thursday.
Draft on Thursday.
That's
a league I've never done, which is apparently Rich was talking. It's a super flex where there's multiple. You can have multiple quarterbacks, multiple position players, tight ends.
I have a league like that. I just drafted for it.
Wild.
All right, so this is my point. So this is what I need to know. And by the way, as Adam put in the comments, the Brave lost to the Yankees, so the Phillies won without playing. All right, so let me ask you this. And each of you can talk about it because you've done more fantasy than I in the last couple of years. Paul, we'll start with you. What do I need to know? What am I looking for? Where do I need to be?
So my strategy for fantasy is I always go running back and wide receiver in the first couple rounds, no matter what. And sometimes it bites me in my butt because people take the quarterbacks first few rounds, and then I end up with like people you don't know. Like in my one league, I have Baker, and you never know what he's going to do.
Sure.
But I usually do a running back and wide receiver depending on my picks because I had pick 4, and I ended up somehow, don't ask me how, I ended up with Derrick Henry, Stephon Diggs, and Austin Eckler on the one team, which I'm thrilled with that. It's great.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good to me.
But yeah,
I mean, especially if you've got a flex, go ahead.
But I am in my new league that I do every year with my friends from school. I'm gonna need advice for this. If anyone can do it, it's a 14-team league. Okay. So it's I pick 14th.
Ooh.
So if anyone has advice in the comments, like please help me out because I usually pick in the middle, and 14th in that position is not going to be fun. But yeah, usually I just go running back, wide receiver, and wait for my quarterbacks.
You might have to.
Max says if you're later in the draft, running back, wide receiver.
Thank you, Max.
Yeah, I would say, and at 14, you want to look at your board. You want to look at who's left available and see like who's the guy on the board that's got the most potential to get me the most points.
Jason says
because if you don't what you don't want to do in that spot is reach for a skill position player when you've got a guy who you could pick at quarterback that might get you more value at that point. And is it a snake? So you're picking 14, 15?
I do get 14, 15.
So you could go like quarterback and skill spot.
I was thinking of going running back because the running backs, when they start going, they all go. And wide receivers always have more. It's a deep wide receiver, but quarterbacks also. So it's going to be an interesting time when I'm drafting.
So this is my point here. Go ahead, Don.
Sorry. No, so think about like the guys that are going to be on the field though. Like for every one, most of these guys you're going to have on the field, you're going to have one running back, but you're probably going to have three or four receivers. So there's absolutely going to be more depth in that position, throughout the draft. Go ahead, Keggy.
See, it's interesting to me, and this, I guess, because again, I haven't done fantasy in years, so my logic was always, get your quarterback, especially if it's one of the top tier guys. Like, your Aaron Rodgers. As long as it's not, November and December, he's going to put up pretty big numbers. If you have the ability to take last year Dak Prescott before he got hurt, you're going to get, huge numbers. Mahomes, huge numbers. Tom Brady, pretty solidly consistent numbers. And you always hear it's not a running back league. It's not a running back league. But both of you guys are saying, and everyone in the comments is saying, get your running back early.
Yeah, because you're going to get rushing and receiving yards.
Yeah, okay. Especially if it's a PPR league. Basically, that means point per reception. So if your running back gets a catch, it's an additional point plus the yards he'll get. So that's why I like Austin Eckler in PPR leagues because he's a receiving back.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Like that's where I would say, look at where you're and most people don't, but go look at what the scoring is for that league. If you're getting guys that get, I think in our Golden Mike League, those monumental statistics, so 100 plus yards get you bonus points. Receiving or receiving or rushing, right? You've got it really benefits you to look at how that league is set up to score points, and then kind of say there's more value. In our Golden Mike League, it's a super flex, so there's actually a spot that you could put in an additional quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So got it. So it really depends on the one Yahoo league that I'm in. It's pretty standard. It's quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, kicker, defense. It's pretty basic. Where this super flex thing, I think there's 12 rosters. There's 10 or 12 roster spots.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's a lot. So and that's the other thing is you're going to also get into depth of you're going to be you might be in a spot where you might be picking guys that you don't know or you've never heard of.
In my draft, in my last draft, I picked that Oklahoma running back on the Patriots, Stevenson. His name is leaving my head. And we had 20 rounds and it was 12 teams. So we got to the point where I'm picking guys. I'm I don't even know if they'll make the final roster.
Right.
So it gets tough. But this is just for me. One player that I'm never picking again is Joe Mixon. That's just me, though.
Okay.
Every time he always shows up when I don't need him to. And then when I need him to, he puts up 2.3 points per game. And I'm if he put up 2 more points, I would have won the game. But, and then there's this freak injury that he gets. Or I might be thinking of something. I don't know. Fantasy just gets me heated. So I'll just be screaming.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I want to make sure that I get the right guys. I want to make sure I get the right guys. And I know I'm picking, I think 7th in the one draft, and I think I'm 3rd or 4th in the one with us. So I have pretty good picks. I'm just, I'm thinking first round, obviously, but I wanted to get some advice from some professionals.
I mean, it really honestly just does depend on what starting slots do you have available, where those guys score points. And also I hate to, and this sounds kind of corny, but I also pick guys that I like to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Guys that I want, that I'm genuinely I know that they'll score points, but that I also want to watch them because it'll make me want to tune into a 4:30 Fox game that they're playing in or a Sunday night football game that they're playing in. So,
I I end up watching a lot of football, so like I'm excited. I think part of the reason, like for me, that I backed away is because I'm like, I want to just be able to watch football and not be like, hey, well, this man is playing against the Eagles, but I want to make sure that he gets 4.7 yards per carry so that I can get my 12 points. No, I mean,
I also don't. I also and this might just be the homer in me is that I
never pick a Cowboy.
I normally don't pick Cowboys.
I don't.
Well, now
usually pick
with that being said, like I don't know, man, CeeDee Lamb, he go get you some yards.
That's the hard thing.
I usually don't pick Eagles because
because you don't want to be like, you're losing the game.
I don't want to. I don't know. I just in fantasy, I usually never pick my favorite teams in case there's like because I'm biased towards them, so I think they're going to do good no matter what.
Right.
But I think unless it's like a guarantee, like I was thinking about picking Hurts, but he got picked the pick before me. I wanted Devontae Smith because I don't know, he's exciting me. But then again, he's never played a game, so I don't know.
And he's already struggling to stay on the field, as we like to. His size worries me, but that's a conversation for a different night. So we'll have to touch base after our drafts and see where we all ended up. Gentlemen, I'm going to wrap this up because we've done a fantastic job. First off, Don, as always, man, you're my boy Blue. I appreciate you. What do you guys got coming up this week on Drunk on Broad?
We're talking, a lot of the same stuff, talking frustration Phillies, talking, Eagles coming up with that game on Friday. There's really not a whole lot of stuff going on with the Sixers. I'm going to kind of sound off on the Sixers and something they did that was kind of crappy. Yeah.
Real fucked up.
So, and then, we've got, just like you guys, we've got our merch store, up and running. Find us on all of the, your podcasting desires, whatever it's Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever.
Yeah, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
Intern
Thank
Paul.
Thank you.
You did a killer job on your first one. You've passed the test. This was your debut /test. Intern Paul, he is a writer for us on All About the Birds, but we wanted to test his on-air ability, so he'll start producing shows and all of that goodness in the next couple of weeks. You guys had some big news today. We have a lot of big news. We are starting a special fantasy segment. I think that's going to be a YouTube exclusive, so that's going to be coming out. We also, and I have a special banner for this. Hold on. All About the Birds is expanding. It's already happened a little bit. You can all now follow the all-new AAT Sports Network on Twitter at AAT Sports _ sports is what we're all about. So we have, for a while now, we have our soccer show and we have my show, which talks about everything. We're now expanding into all of the sports where All About the Birds will just be one branch of it. So make sure you are going onto Twitter and liking the new page. And as we kind of slowly transition into all of it, once the website goes up, it'll be a lot of the same thing. But it's the AAT Sports Network. So that's pretty big in our world. We also have a huge announcement about a new show, which we'll tell you about on Wednesday. I don't want to tell you anything yet. We're going to tell you about it on Wednesday. It is, let me tell you, we had a special behind-the-scenes meeting last night. And it was awesome, and it's a lock. And Johnny's made the video and the logos, and we're ready to go. We are ready to go with this new show. So we'll tell you about that on Wednesday, and then we'll blitz your social media on Thursday about it. Speaking of Wednesday night, we have the All About the Birds weekly report. We have Rob Motti, AP writer /97.5, joining us at 9 p.m. special, 9 p.m. start time. And then we'll get into all of his takes on the Eagles. He's got some really good takes about Zach Ertz and Jalen Hurts that I hope he goes into a little bit. So that is Wednesday. Thursday is our soccer show across the pitch. So make sure you are checking that out. course, Birds, Beers, and BS is our Friday night YouTube exclusive. A lot of big stuff in the All About the Birds / AAT Sports Network world. So get on board because we've taken off. Exactly. Again, sponsors real quick. I'm going to go from the bottom up this time as soon as I find my list. Here we go. We are now partnered with La Touraine Luxury Watches. Use the code AATBirds at checkout for 10% off. Link is in the show description. 99 Jersey is partnered with AAT Birds. Use the code AATBirds20 for a 20% discount at checkout. Here's my Kobe jersey. Happy birthday, Kobe. We miss you. We love you. Props to them for that. AATBirds.com/shop for all of your designs, including our new shows, which will drop merch pretty soon. OddsJam.com. Use their arbitrage calculator to not lose money. Link in the bio. Statement Games, a fun free twist on fantasy sports. Link in the bio. And of course, Don's very favorite. Don, you want to do the big funny voiceover?
Your balls will thank you.
Manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. Is partnered with AAT Birds. Use the code AATBirds for 20% off and free shipping at checkout so that your balls and your ladies will thank you. Does that sound really creepy coming in? Like I can hear it in my ears, but like I don't think it. I hope that sounds good. The way I've been doing it for months.
No, I've heard you do voiceovers for the last decade. So.
So again, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for the exceptional comments tonight. Really, really good. Yes, Adam, I agree. Dallas sucks. And as we end every show on the All About the Birds Network / AAT Sports Network, go Birds. Say, gentlemen.
Go Birds.
And as we end every Monday night show, we're out of beer / water, so we're out of here. Here's some talking about your testicles. Enjoy. Attention, listeners across the galaxy, all the way from Australia to Houston. Do we have a pube problem? If so, our friends at Manscaped have cleared you for takeoff with their 4th generation and brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Kick your pubes to the next planet with the Performance Package 4.0. The orbits in your pants will feel like you're in zero gravity when you use the best tools for the job from the leaders in male grooming. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get your rocket ready for takeoff by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code AATBirds. Ready for an out-of-world experience, fellas? Look no further than the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped that has just taken off in not only the USA, but Canada, the UK, across Europe, Australia, South Africa, and Singapore. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your whole solar system. First, scheduled for liftoff, new Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. This spaceship is here to guide you on a journey to trim your body, balls, butt, and even Uranus. This 4th generation trimmer also features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multifunction on-off switch, can engage a travel lock, and is even waterproof. The Lawnmower 4.0 also has a 4000K LED spotlight you can turn on and off when needed for a more precise shave throughout your travels across the universe. The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker. It's like having a little astronaut to chop your worst weeds up top in your nose and ear. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary dual-blade system. This nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps prevent nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate holes. Don't forget to use Crop Preserver ball deodorant and their Crop Reviver to help your little planets be on their A-game while feeling the sun's heat. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0. The Manscaped Boxers, and the Shed Travel Bag. Abort hairy balls and Buzz Lightyear that Woody with Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code AATBirds at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code AATBirds at manscaped.com. For a clean trinity and beyond, your space balls will thank you.